I don't know if it's possible to convey to gamers whose memories don't go back that far just how massive the return of console gaming was to the American popular psyche. Even without an internet to spread the word, the culture of video games caught on like wildfire, and the Super Mario Brothers, the iconic mascots of the monolithically omnipresent Nintendo Entertainment System, went from being unknowns to being as big and then bigger than Mickey Mouse in what was then considered lightning speed. There were Mario toys, Mario cereal, Mario everything, and then in 1989, there was a TV series.
Hey, paisanos! It's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
In a way, it was a wholly natural progression, partially because it was inevitable that the greatest franchise in the history of the medium would quickly become too big to fit in only one medium, but also because
TV is weird.
Now, this particular era of American gaming shows takes a lot of abuse, much of it well-deserved. You won't catch me pretending that the Power Team was any good or that Captain N didn't age horribly. And my biggest Mario-related fantasy, okay, second biggest, is still to see Oogtar from the Mario World cartoon clubbed to death with a pipe wrench. But going back over it, I maintain that even without the aid of nostalgia, Super Show actually holds up, at least as well as it ever held up. It's a quintessential late 80s kitsch piece, pretty much. You know what, I'll just let it speak for itself.
You're in for a treat, so hang on to your seat. Get ready for adventure and remarkable feats. You'll meet Koopas and Troopers, the princess and the others. Hanging with the plumbers, you'll be hooked on the brothers to the bridge.
Yeah, like that. Produced for 2 seasons starting in 1989 by Kiddie TV powerhouse DiC, like a lot of US gaming shows that were based on material from Japanese developers, the showrunners weren't actually given much background to work with outside of what could be gleaned from the games themselves, which at this time only included Super Mario Bros. And the US version of Super Mario Bros. 2, which led to some interesting discrepancies. Legend has it that the character designers couldn't really reconcile using Super Mario Bros. 1's Bowser or Super Mario Bros. 2's Wart for the villains, so they split the difference, erring on the Bowser side with a combo character they dubbed King Koopa. Mario and Luigi wear red and green overalls over matching blue shirts instead of the other way around, and Princess Peach is a redhead like her original sprite and is only ever referred to as Princess Toadstool. The cartoon's backstory was rooted mostly in the non-canonical origin story that had been loosely assigned to most English versions of the game in that era. The Mario Brothers are plumbers from Brooklyn magically warped to the Mushroom Kingdom. In most episodes, the 4 good guys would travel to different worlds that had been conquered by Koopa and his minions, typically built around broad parodies of movie genres, famous stories, or historical periods, though sometimes it got kinda clever. During an adventure in a world inspired by the post-apocalyptic Mad Max movies, Toad finally snapped and went hardcore as the Toad Warrior. The cartoons, however, were only half of the show. Each episode was bookended by a framing story featuring the first ever live incarnations of Mario and Luigi, played by WWF superstar Captain Lou Albano and actor Danny Wells, respectively. These segments, apparently taking place before the brothers' displacement to the Mushroom Kingdom, were really, really surreal, even by the standards of late 80s kids' TV. The brothers lived in a chaotic plumbing shop, best described as a blue-collar New York version of Pee-wee's Playhouse, complete with strange creatures, wacky gadgets, and a C-list celebrity guest list of people like Sergeant Slaughter, Ernie Hudson doing a Ghostbusters spoof, and even a live-action Inspector Gadget played by Maurice LaMarche. Every week, Monday through Thursday, the live-action brothers would goof off with their guest star while the animated guys fought the good fight. But then on Friday, you'd get a special treat, kicking off the weekend with a Zelda cartoon. Once again, I'll let it speak for itself.
This is the Triforce of Wisdom, Link. The evil wizard Ganon has the Triforce of Power. Whoever gets both Triforces will rule this land forever. You must help me, Link.
Oh, hell yes. Orchestral arrangement of the original Zelda theme, weapons and monsters and sound effects from the games, still my favorite visual depiction of Ganon. If you'd come up through what were then the only 2 Zelda titles, this was awesome. This is what you wanted to see. This was...
Hey, excuse me, princess.
Alright, here's the thing. In the 80s, there was this comedy show called Moonlighting about a male-female detective duo that hated but also kind of wanted to sleep with one another. It was a huge hit, even though today people only remember it for being Bruce Willis's big show before Die Hard and for a really funny takeoff on the Taming of the Shrew they did in one episode. That particular love-hate chemistry was aped by everything for a while there, and the Zelda cartoon is doing another very self-conscious takeoff on it. And yeah, the catchphrase is annoying as hell, but taken on its own merits, the majority of the show was really fun. It's a pretty clever subversion of the usual fantasy dynamic to have the whole thing take place after whatever the big quest was, and now the hero and the princess are basically just these roommates with nothing in common who annoy the hell out of each other in order to avoid the obvious sexual tension. Also, it has to be said, this was easily the most capable and self-reliant Princess Zelda we've ever seen, and she didn't have to be in boy drag to do it. Just saying. The majority of the full episodes, including the live-action segments, were collected on a pair of DVD box sets, while the Zelda cartoon got its own DVD that actually came out first, because, Zelda. If nothing else, the Super Show is a perfect time capsule of video game fandom in its nascent state, and well worth checking out even if only as a landmark for the medium's evolution. Of course, there was another Mario cartoon before this one, but that's a story for another time. Alright, I think you've waited long enough.
Movies are weird.
Super Mario Bros. Pichime Kaioshutsu Daisakusen, roughly translated as Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, was an anime feature film from Toei released in Japan in 1986, and it is crazy rare. After its theatrical run, it was only released on Japanese VHS once, has never been available on any other format, and was never translated into languages other than Japanese or officially distributed outside of Japan. To this day, it remains one of the long-lost holy grails among anime fans, gamers, and Mario collectors alike, the first Mario adaptation ever. So now that you know that this exists, the burning question is it any good? The answer? It's okay. I don't want to undersell it. It's a perfectly serviceable kiddie anime of the era and about what you'd expect, but like a lot of legendary lost movies, your imagination tends to set up unreasonable expectations. What it does offer is a uniquely fascinating glimpse at the Mario Bros. Franchise in the earliest moments of its transformation from video game to pop culture mass media juggernaut. This was the first try at fleshing out a story and characters from the Mario mythology back when that mythology was only this one game, and in many respects it paints a vastly different picture than what we've since grown used to. For example, Mario and Luigi are not plumbers in this. No, really. Instead, they run a grocery store. Yeah. Alright, let's get into it. In the story, Mario is staying up late to play video games. Hey, come to think of it, isn't it funny that this is the only time that Mario, the mascot of a company that exclusively makes video games, has been portrayed as a gamer himself? Anyway, the game opens up a portal to the Mushroom Kingdom, and out comes Princess Peach. Yeah, you wish, buddy. Pursued by Bowser's entourage, and then Bowser himself. The Koopa King kicks Mario's ass and makes off with the princess, but not before she drops off a magic pendant and begs Mario to save her. Luigi thinks it's all a dream, but he changes his tune when he sees Peach's pendant, not because he wants to be a hero, but because this version of Luigi is a greedy, treasure-hunting bastard, and he figures there must be more where that came from. The decision gets made for them when the pendant is grabbed by a small blue dog. Not exactly. This is Kibidango, and as neither Yoshi or Toad had been invented yet, he's our cute animal sidekick, and you will be really sick of him by the time this is over. They chase Kibidango into a pipe which warps them to the Mushroom Kingdom, where a wizard fills them in on the plot you remember from the game. Bowser's forces have taken over the kingdom and turned the mushroom people into rocks and coins and whatever. Mario and Luigi have to go on a quest for 3 magic weapons and save Peach before Bowser forces her into marriage and officially becomes king. From there on, it's pretty much exactly what you'd imagine a mid-80s Mario anime from Toei would look like. Mario and Luigi and Kibidango have slapstick encounters with various creatures and obstacles from the game. Meanwhile, Bowser tries unsuccessfully to convince Peach that the whole forced marriage thing won't be so bad. Here's a weird scene. When they get the mushroom and restore some of the citizens to normal, check this mushroom lady out. Going by the outfit, it looks like she's supposed to be the movie version of the nameless guys you saved in the first 7 castles. So, this is Toad version 1.0. Remember, Toad himself wasn't an official separate character until they needed a 4th player sprite for the American Mario 2. And here's Mario dreaming of all the G-rated action he'll be getting when they save the day. And here's an airship, or rather a regular ship that they make fly by blowing on it really hard. Okay? In the end, well, what do you think happens? Storm the castle, brave the traps, Mario takes Bowser on hand to hand and dispatches him Super Mario 64 style. Peace returns to the land, and our heroes step up for their accolades and rewards. But when Peach gets her pendant back, something funny starts happening with Kibidango. Yeah, this is going exactly where you think it is. Kibidungo is actually Prince Haru, heir to the throne of the Flower Kingdom and transformed by Bowser's magic, and he's Peach's fiancé. Mario takes this about like you'd expect, but he and Luigi say their goodbyes and head back home. And yeah, that's actually how this ends.
Mario! Luigi! Genki de na!
What the f***? The Mario Brothers busted their asses doing all the work, and this dude we've never heard of, who just hung around the whole time, winds up with the girl. They don't even get a cake this time. They get nothing. The first Mario movie ever ends with Super Mario walking home with super blue balls. And yeah, that's more or less the lost Mario anime. Watching it now, it's not hard to understand how it got lost. Aside from featuring characters who'd eventually be world famous, it's not very distinguishable from other quickly produced cash-in anime features from the same era, and the characters and scenario are pretty far off from where Nintendo would eventually take them. But, as far as relics from gaming's long, hard climb into the popular culture go, I've seen worse. I've definitely seen worse. I'm Bob, and that's the big picture.